With the defeat of Honoric's army, the rightful ruler of Earthmancast has returned to his throne. But even as the people of the city celebrate, evil stirs in the bowels of all. Denizens of the Rift have captured allies that the lord of the city holds dear, and he must set forth to venture their escape. This might seem like an impossible task, but he is no mere man. He is Avenger. I am Ninja. My parents are the heaven and the earth. My home is my body. My power is loyalty. My magic is training. My life and my death is breathing. My body is control. My eyes are the sun and the moon. My ears are sensitivity. My laws are self-protection. My strength is adaptability. My ambition is taking every opportunity with fullness. My friend is my mind. My enemy is carelessness. My protection is right action. My weapons are everything that exists. My strategy is one foot in front of the other. My trust is in honor. My way is the way of the tiger. Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time once again for The Way of the Tiger. This is Book 6, a book which for many years I did not know even existed. I can't remember if I got to the end of Book 5 originally and was under the impression Book 6 had not been published yet, or for whatever reason that Book 5 was the end of the series. I can't remember. However, years later, when I discovered there was a Book 6, I decided to play through the series again to refamiliarise myself with it before starting Book 6, and I got up to about 2/3 of the way through Book 4, where I was destroyed by the Kraken in the ocean after getting through the crashing rocks. I know. So, as you all know now, I've played through it on the channel, and we've had a fairly successful run so far. It's been a bit tough going in places, and here we finally are at a book many of you may be familiar with, but one that I have never played before. Now, when I first got hold of this document, I skimmed through it, looked at a few pictures, a few words caught my eyes, might have even read a sentence or two. I believe at one point I read the final section, because I only originally became aware of the existence of this book, to the best of my knowledge, when I came across people complaining that it seemed like a really negative end of the series to kill off the main character
or leave the main character at the brink of death with no hope of rescue and then just abandon them there. So I looked to see, how bad it was and what the situation was. I was also aware that there were 1 or 2 errors that made it impossible to reach the end if you weren't careful. We do have the errata here, which simply states at the end of paragraph 420, if Cassandra's sword has not been captured previously, the player should turn to 424, not 423. So it's only a 1 section difference. It's not like 324 instead of 424 or something like that. Speaking of a 1-digit difference, there is a very good fighting fantasy book called Legend of the Shadow Warriors, which fell victim to the 26 code curse that plagued many of the books at that point in the series, in which you would have the answer to something, and to prove you knew the answer rather than taking it on trust, you had to translate every letter in that name or word or passphrase into a number from 1 to 26, add them all up and see what section you went to. And it is the only book in the series where at the very end of the book you need to know where the villain is going to perform his secret ritual and go there to stop him. And you need to do the 26 code. And you do it perfectly, you add it all up, you go to the section and it's the wrong section. And you think, oh no, it must have been somewhere else. No. The author just messed up and you have to go 1 higher or 1 lower than the actual answer. You need to add it up incorrectly to get the correct result. And it's the only time in the series that is the case. Just as Revenge of the Vampire is the only book which you need to cheat to succeed in. Because the only way to succeed is to spend 1 coin after you have been told you have to spend all your coins to get to this place. There is a mention of, having a secret compartment in the heel of one of your boots in which you keep your last coin as a lucky coin for emergencies. But when it says pay all your coins, you think it's all your coins. It doesn't say all your coins except for the lucky one you keep. No, it doesn't say that at all. And you need that 1 last coin to be able to complete the adventure. If you do not spend all your coins to get to the place where you need to spend that 1 coin, you will arrive there too late to spend that 1 coin and be unable to, and fail the whole adventure about 2/3 of the way through the book because you didn't have that 1 coin earlier. Anyway, speaking of all that stuff, let's get back to this. So, the challenge here, I think, will be to treat this as any other ordinary gamebook. Right? Because, for me, this has the weight of the previous 5 books in the series behind it, as it probably did for most of the players who came across this at the time. And it will contain many characters and locations and creatures and things that are dear to us. And I will want to engage with that, and it will feel special. And I feel that because of all that, I have very high expectations for this book. Which is probably exactly how a lot of players felt when they first came across Book 7, when it finally came out many years later. I don't know if it lived up to the hype. The other thing, of course, is that I may need to add a new rule. The Jamie Thomson rule. Because, as we know, the Way of the Tiger series is written by... Is it Mark Smith and Jamie Thomson? Yeah, Mark Smith and Jamie Thomson, right? And we know 2 things. We know that Jamie Thomson always writes all the odd-numbered sections, and whoever he is collaborating with as a co-author writes all the even-numbered sections. He's not sure why it's always worked out that way, but after a while it's just become a habit, and hey, it's the way they always do it, right? We also know he likes to write auto-kill sections. And we know that in the previous 2 books of the series, not so much in the 3 before that, we would come to sections of the adventure where, for back-to-back, for a short episodic portion of the adventure, every section we would be instructed to turn to would end with the same digit as the previous one, which would of course indicate it was being written by the same author. What would be interesting to note is if we come to multiple choice options and the results are both odd and even, rather than being all odd or all even. And then we can think to ourselves, look at the number of the section we are currently reading, and then determine if we think the other author is writing a side branch, as in a failure or auto-kill or something, or if they are writing the next chunk of the story. And this author is leading us down a side branch, or we'll be like, okay, you take it off and I'll just wind this down this little blind alley, whatever, right? So that is a trap that I will try not to fall into, but I will be looking at that over the course of the series. Additionally, at the end of this episode, I'm going to have to work out some kind of introduction with no real foreknowledge of the adventure. What do I know? I know that it seems to go into the bowels of Orb. Cassandra, Chuchev, and Form appear once again. I know Cassandra can use her cold magic sword to try and gouge out the orb of power from our eye and steal it. And then we will be without it, and that'll be a major problem going forwards. I'm aware we can take her sword away from her and have it confiscated. I'm aware that her not having her sword later on may be to our advantage. I'm also aware that her not having her sword even later than that will be a really big problem for us. Probably. And I think she needs to have her sword on her in book 7, because without it, it leads to big problems, I think. Okay, so that off the top of my head is everything. Oh, wait. I know that Lady Foxglove reappears in this one. I believe her and Cassandra are prisoners, and we get to question them or something. I know that on the journey to somewhere, Foxglove can seduce us and make us fall in love with her. And we don't know if she genuinely loves us. If she genuinely loves us, she shouldn't need to try and seduce us. She should... Well, I'm not sure what she should do in that case. However, we are a king without a throne, and she is a servant of Nemesis, and we know Nemesis is our nemesis. My point being that the High Priests of Nemesis have been bad so far, but we do need to keep them on side because they have such a large following in the city, and the people deserve to be able to worship a nasty, horrible god if they still want to. We shouldn't force them not to. So maybe making a marriage between Avenger and Lady Foxglove, not necessarily a literal marriage, but, marrying the two forces of church and state, essentially to show that they are welcome here, even if we do not approve of their deeds, may be a wise thing. And we know that we end up in the bowels of Orb with dark elves and goblins and spiders and stuff chasing us, and I think trapped in a giant spider web with a giant spider trying to kill us. If we look at the new books, book 7, and we scroll down to here, this is pretty much the situation at the end of book 7 as far as I can tell. And this seems to be Nulak, the spider goddess whose temple we could have visited in book 4 when we were told to seek an amulet of Nulak. And we do know that if we found an amulet of Nulak, we would have been cursed and forever lost a point of inner force. We also know that... See, I'm sort of putting things together in my head here to see what I know, see what I don't know. If we fall in love with Lady Foxglove, that may hamper our abilities to do things, and the power of Shinren is likely to let us know if she is being genuine or if she's trying to manipulate us, right? But if she knows we are in love with her, then she might not betray us at some later point, as in the betrayal may be smaller or something, rather than a larger betrayal, because she believes we are on her side. Whereas she may call us out as a blasphemer or something. What else do we... Oh, yeah. And the Dark Elves of the assassin spiders in Book 5 may have been worshippers of Nulak to some extent as well. The other thing we know is that in the full colour reprints, which are pretty hard to get hold of, this book opens with a breakdown of all of the main previous characters of the series and what happened to them over the course of the series. Now, we got a bit of that here after the sentence, "Now you are king of the City of Earthsman" cast. And it's presented as some kind of scholarly report to hand to any ruler of any kingdom on the map. You know, report on the various rulers and peoples of import, which is a nice way of reminding people about characters from the series, especially if they haven't played the previous books. So without further ado, I think we should dive in. Now, I have been instructed that at some point, either at the beginning of Book 5 or Book 6, we are instructed that we have discovered a new copy of The Blood of Nil. We never seem, because we went through the usurper's treasury and discovered it, we haven't had an opportunity to replace our flash powder since Book 2, I want to say. Maybe Book 3, but I'm thinking Book 2, where there was an alchemist selling flash powder for like 5 gold a use, and we had 20 gold and we spent some of it. We should have spent 50. We could have spent 15 more gold and got 3 more uses of it, but I don't know if they stack. Likewise, we haven't been able to replace the spiderfish venom. We need the Blood of Nil either in Book 6 or Book 7. Actually, you know what? I just had this open. No bookmarks. Damn it, am I going to have to add them? Okay, let's see. Ninja tools. Not skills. Okay. Tools are listed. Combat. Special rules. I'm checking to see if still lack any equipment lost, such as your grappling hook and rope and your flash powder. This is the map of Earthsman cast, which came with the books. There's like a poster, fold-out poster of this map. I should have pulled this out during Book 4. I didn't realise it was in the Book 7 PDF. That's how little I've looked at it to try and keep it fresh. That being said, I have seen some things in this book, similar to having seen some things in Book 6. So it's pretty much blind, though, at this point. Background. Are we gonna... Orb West Map, New Collector's Edition. I do know that these guys who put this out were planning to do a role-playing game set in Orb, and that never came to pass, unfortunately. Looks like there's nothing in here about having plundered the usurper's treasury. So it may have been back in Book 5, but I think for this book, I'm going to mark the flash powder and spiderfish venom as being potentially replaced, because I haven't had the opportunity to spend coins since something like book 2 or book 3, right? It feels as if the replacement of ninja tools and using money to manage resources was originally intended to be a larger part of the series than it actually became, and then it sort of stopped being a part. I'm also going to recover all Inner Force and Ninja Stars and Endurance points for this book. Let me know about the Blood of Nil, Flash Powder and Spiderfish Venom in the comments section if you feel I should have restored them or not, because it's like having access to an entire kingdom's worth of resources. I'm aware the Blood of Nil is pretty rare, but we've apparently been able to find one dose, and it's required either in book 6 or book 7, and we're told that we have it and have managed to find some more without finding it on screen, essentially. Alright. The green gem, is that the orb? I think it is. Some gemstones from book 4, section 42. I don't think they ever feature again. It's not as if we get to sell them and buy new equipment or use them to bribe anyone or anything. Okay, let's dive back in. Now, I could skip the intro up to the line, "Now you are king of the City of Earthsman" cast. But I'm not going to do that, because it's nice to remind ourselves of what's come before, and also you, dear viewer, might not have watched the earlier books in the series, in which case you can absolutely go and do that now. But if you want to get the intro now, we'll do that for you and for me. And then we'll dive into the book proper. On the magical world of Orb, alone in a sea that the people of the Man March call endless, lies the mystical island of tranquil dreams. Many years have passed since the time when, as an infant, you first saw its golden shores and emerald rice meadows. A servant brought you braving the distant leagues of the ponderous ocean, from lands to which you have never returned, except we now have. But that sentence has never been amended in the introductions. Your loyal servant laid you an orphan at the steps of the Temple of the Rock, praying that the monks would care for you, for she was frail and dying of a hideous curse. Monks have lived on the island for centuries, dedicated to the worship of their god, Quan, he who speaks the holy words of power, supreme master of unarmed combat. They live only to help others resist the evil that infests the world. Seeing that you were alone and needed care, the monks took you in and you became an acolyte at the Temple of the Rock. Nothing was made of the strange birthmark, shaped like a crown, that you carry on your thigh, though you remember that the old servant insisted that it was of mystical importance. The most ancient and powerful monk of them all, Naijishi, Grand Master of the Dawn, became your foster father. He gave you guidance and training in the calm goodness of Quan, knowledge of men and their ways, and how to meditate so that your mind floats free of your body and rides the winds in search of truth. From the age of 6, however, most of your time has been spent learning the way of the tiger. Now you are a ninja, a master of the martial arts and a deadly assassin who can kill the most powerful enemies unseen and unsuspected. Like a tiger, you are strong, stealthy, agile, patient in the stalking of prey, and deadly. In the land of plenty in the Man March, the fabled ninja, known as the Men with No Shadow, are held in awe. The mere mention of ninja strikes fear into people's hearts. But you are one of the few who worship Quan and follow the way of the tiger. You use your skill as a bringer of death to rid the world of evildoers. At an early age you hung by the hands for hours on end from the branches of trees to strengthen your arms. You ran for miles, your light-footed speed enough to keep a 30-foot ribbon trailing above the ground. You trod tightropes as agile as a monkey. Now you swim like a fish and leap like a tiger. You move in the whisper of the breeze and glide through the blackest night like a shade. Before he died, Nagishi taught you the ninja's covenant. The ninja no Chigiri. I will vanish into the night, change my body to wood or stone, sink into the earth and walk through walls and locked doors. I will be killed many times, yet will not die, change my face and become invisible, able to walk among men without being seen. It was after your foster father Nagishi's death that you began to live the words of the covenant. A man came to the island, Yaemon, Grand Master of Flame. Using borrowed sorcery, he tricked the monks into believing that he was a worshipper of Quan from the great continent. He was indeed a monk, but he worshipped Quan's twisted brother, Vile, who helps the powerful to subdue the weak and wicked men to rule fools. Yaemon slew Nagishi. No one could match him in unarmed combat, and he stole the scrolls of Ketsuin from the temple. Once more you knew the pain of loss, for you had loved Nagishi as a father. You swore an oath to Quan that one day you would avenge his death, and you were avenged. You slew Yaemon and learned of your ancestry. Now you are king of the city of Ursmancast. You gathered advisors around you and passed many new laws, some popular, others less than popular, but you managed to govern the city, playing one faction off against another until Ursmancast came under attack. Not for nothing is the city named Ursmancast Nyedge. Its location at the eastern edge of the Man March, the lands of men, means that whenever the hosts of evil spew forth from the bowels of Orb, the great rift that scores the world like a black pit in a rotten fruit, it is likely that Ursmancast will be the city they fall upon in their search for new slaves. And so it was early in your reign. The army repulsed them once, but, prompted by your god Quan the Redeemer, you set out on a quest to recover the orb and sceptre which are the traditional emblems of your family's rule. The quest was successful, but when touching the sceptre transported you magically back to the battlemented tower of the palace, a terrible sight met your eye. The city was wreathed in smoke, torched by the evil hordes from the rift. You led your forces in a great struggle against the forces of evil and triumphed in the final battle. Your arch-enemy Honoric and the dread Legion of the Sword of Doom were crushed, and the spawn of the rift crept back to their underground fastnesses, far from the sunlit lands of men. But they have not forgotten you. On your triumphal return to the city, the streets of Ursmancast have been strewn with flowers. Sorry, shit. I'm English. I'm not a dickhead. I will say that correctly. On your triumphal return to the city, the streets of Ursmancast have been strewn with flowers. Your victory against Honoric and the Legion of the Sword of Doom has made you the darling of the people. The months that follow are among the happiest of your life. As overlord, you will never be carefree, but your reign is now blessed with peace, both within and without the city walls. The forces of the rift had largely melted away when news of Honoric's defeat reached them, and there had been no more raids from the rift, the gaping chasm that men call the bowels of Orb, since that glorious day. Your friends Glaivas, the Ranger Lord, and the Paladin Dore Lejeune became themselves fast friends during the celebration, and at the zealous Paladin's suggestion, and against his better judgment, Glaivas allowed himself to be persuaded to accompany Dore on a punitive expedition to the rift. We told the people of the city of... it wasn't the Spires, it was the other one. That in the previous book, that we would indeed launch an attack on the rift after defending our own city. Why have we not done that yet? They left almost a month ago to the day, and now, the first day of Pamphios, they are due to arrive back at court at any time. Gwyneth, Force Lady of the Shield Maidens of Dharma, continues to oversee the keeping of law and of the military with her customary efficiency, and the demagogue has persuaded you to sponsor a series of new buildings which she hopes will spark a renaissance for the city. The treasury is empty, and you have had to borrow to make payments to the dependents of those killed in the war, but the people are happy. Your allies have returned home with gifts to show that they can count on you for allegiance should they ever fall under attack. There is no threat at present, but still you begin to feel increasingly uneasy as the days pass. Okay, rules for Book 6. If you have not played and successfully completed Book 5, Warbringer, in the Way of the Tiger series, then you begin this book with the equipment and skills listed. If you have successfully completed Book 5, then you should continue with the same character. Simply transfer all the information on your original character sheet to the new one given here. You will have regained 5 shuriken, and your endurance and inner force will have been restored. You also continue Book 6 with any special items you may have picked up on your journey. Do not forget to transfer all your punch, kick, and so on modifiers to your character sheet. I mean, there's literally like only one more modifier, which is for block. Oh no, we've got throw, block, and there is no block modifier. You may also have learned just one of the following 2 superior skills taught by the Grandmaster of the Dawn of the Temple of the Rock. We have not gained a character upgrade since Book 3. No new modifiers, no new skills. I think the authors must have decided enough was enough and they didn't want us to make everything too easy. Or they just forgot about character progression at some point and decided not to, and that was, the height of what we should achieve. So Shinren and Yubijutsu, we know about those. Combat rules. Skills. Ninja tools. You carry one dose for most virulent poison known all this. I don't see anything here saying that we got it. Ironically, it would be amusing if the imp disguised as a son of Nil in the beginning of Book 5 is the reason why we are later assumed to have the blood of Nil, as if we were supposed to just meet the son of Nil there again, and then it got turned into an illusion. Flash powder, it doesn't say anything there about replacing him. Okay, we'll go to section 1 and begin our playthrough. And of course, Pantheos sounds Greek enough that it reminds me of the Blood Feud of Alpheus series, which is a free game book series, like 3 books, in which you blatantly redo the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. And the closer you stick to the legend, the more likely your chances of success become. Although there are encounters early on in the first book that aren't part of the legend at all, that are like, what? I don't remember this. I don't remember him stopping at an inn overnight and being attacked by the innkeeper with an axe who was trying to kill him to rob him. Anyway. Let's focus. On the 5th day of Pantheos, Force Lady Gwyneth asks for an audience, which you gladly grant. She is even more ramrod straight than usual, and her lips are pressed together in an expression of determination. A party has come from the rift. Glaivas? Dore? You ask eagerly, but your hopes are dashed. No, we still lack news on them. The news that we have is all unlooked for. An enemy of the city has returned. A traitress. A traitress. She spits the word out with ill-concealed venom. Only one woman is hated by Gwyneth in this way. Foxglove, the beautiful courtesan who ran the Order of the Yellow Lotus, the secret informers of the reign of the demonic usurper. You remind Gwyneth that there has been no proof forthcoming that Foxglove betrayed the city to Shadazar and the forces of evil from the rift. What need of proof? Where was she when the orcs and the dark elves and their trolls overran the city? Gone. Disappeared. Poof! Into thin air. Pah! Into the bowels of the orb, more like. They are camped on the edges of our farmland, guarded by 100 miserable quivering orcs of the severed head. They? You inquire. Another woman is with her, a warrior woman wearing a strange patchwork affair of scale mail. They demand amnesty from you before they will enter the city. They claim to bear news that you will find interesting. Probably a ransom demand for our friends. And if we know anything about Cassandra, Chuchev, and Form, they are good at hatching plans, and this is the kind of plan they could... They demand a ransom, we go to the rescue, they capture us, right? This is my feeling of the way it goes. You pause to think things over, but Gwyneth continues. I can take them with but 20 of my cavalry. Foxglove is no fighter, then we will see what they have to say. We can ride out with Gwyneth to try and take them prisoner, proclaim an amnesty using the town crier as Foxglove asks, or try to use our ninja skills to capture them alone. Now. Cassandra has a magic sword. And I can literally see the words, you take Cassandra's sword with you. It is too great a treasure to leave behind. Yeah, that's something I probably shouldn't be able to see on this page. So, we should be careful. They have a lot of orcs with them. 100 orcs is a lot of orcs, who might suddenly stop quivering if they realise we are alone and they can take us prisoner. Going out on our own seems like the ultimate confidence choice. It feels like walking the fine line between confidence and foolhardiness. Ride out with Gwyneth to take them prisoner, rather than... Now, Gwyneth is a trustworthy ally, but we have learned she can be a little too defensive and reactionary and she is biased against Foxglove. If we proclaim an amnesty, will they bring the orcs in with them to secure their own safety? We don't know what they want. I do believe there's a picture of them like Gwyneth leading Cassandra as a prisoner, leading Foxglove as a prisoner to speak with us in audience in one of the royal chambers. Seeing stuff here about Cassandra, Chuchev, and Form as well, and Foxglove. We are an honourable ruler. This is a move of fear, but at least we're going personally. It's also a safe move. If we go out there alone to try and capture them, I'm not sure taking them prisoner is the right thing, but I'm also fairly sure they can't hurt us in our royal court. It's outside the court there will be issues. Outside the city. Is this an act of folly? Well, it will annoy Gwyneth. It depends. If they are here to trick me, then this will give them false confidence. If they are here to honestly deliver a message, then this could make them more likely to deliver an honest, honourable message. Sneaking out to try and capture them on our own seems like a really bad idea, which could get us captured, or something for a future playthrough. Given the way we have behaved diplomatically so far, I will proclaim an amnesty. But if they break it, then it will not go well for them. Amnesty for Foxglove and her retinue is proclaimed throughout Earthmancast, and your unwelcome visitors enter the city. The orcs of the Severed Head, plainly very nervous, camp on Caravan Field and talk to no one. They are guarded by a special contingent of the Watch. Foxglove and her companion are escorted into your presence by Gwyneth and 10 shield maidens. You meet with a double surprise. Well, not really, because we've been told who we're meeting already. Oh. The first surprise is Foxglove. She wears the same peacock gown that she wore when you first met her when she petitioned to become a member of your Privy Council, but it is torn and travel-stained. The extravagant peacock tail train has been ripped off it long ago. She is still beautiful, but her fragile beauty is that of a forlorn waif rather than the sophisticated courtesan you remember. But remember that she has probably cultivated this image. She's intentionally not repaired her gown and probably allowed herself to lose weight to give the impression of vulnerability. Your second surprise is the warrior woman. You recognize her haughtiness instantly. She is Cassandra, wanted by the priestesses of Illustra at Harif Siva Crow for the murder of their high priestess, along with other dangerous worshippers of the insane god of chaos, Anarkil. You were attacked by 3 of them because you had slain their barbarian friend in self-defense. Most clearly of all, you remember that she is a breathtakingly swift swordswoman, and has a magical sword that is cold. Cassandra strides towards the throne, neglecting to bow, and General Gwyneth moves in front of her to protect you. This may be the illustration I recall. And again, this hair's slightly different, but this is the Cassandra we know and love. Whereas the illustration of Cassandra in Book 7 is... it's the picture they used in the reprints, and it is not the Cassandra we are even remotely familiar with. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Anytime. Now, this is just not Cassandra. For starters, there's nothing about her hair being black in the books. It looks more... and this is fashion armor. It's not designed to be functional. It's just bits placed haphazardly. Very sort of 3rd edition Todd Lockwood art style. Whereas this still looks like functional armor to a degree. Let's just close that. I have important news for you, Overlord. Your friend Glaivas, the Ranger Lord, is held prisoner by the Dark Elves in the Rift. Only you can save him, Avenger. If you do not yield the sceptre that is the badge and instrument of your rule to the bowels of the orb, your friend Glaivas will die the death of 1,000 torments, a death so horrible that only the immortal Dark Elves have the patience to execute it. If you yield the sceptre, then Glaivas and the headstrong paladin who accompanied him on his ill-advised adventure into the Rift will go free. She pauses for your reaction, running a hand through her spiked hair as a man might to conceal her nervousness. Will you ask her what she has to gain by placing herself in such danger while bringing you this message? Ask Foxglove whether Cassandra speaks the truth, or threaten to hold Cassandra hostage against Glaivas' return. We promised them amnesty, so threatening to hold one hostage is not going to... it's going to make us look like an oathbreaker, one who cannot be trusted. We obviously should not surrender the sceptre, which makes anyone obey you so long as they are not your enemy, to our enemies. Because, hey, it won't work on us, but it could work on anyone, like neighbouring kingdoms who are not the enemy of these creatures. could be rallied against us to form armies, for example. They could walk into the city, and anyone who doesn't hate them immediately or realise who or what they are could be influenced. This is really bad. Why is Foxglove here? These are all odd numbers, so this is fine. If we ask Cassandra what she has to gain from this, can we still ask Foxglove? I think we ask Cassandra, because we don't normally get to speak to her. She's normally very aggressive. Cassandra replies, but she has been promised riches beyond man's wildest dreams, and that danger to her is nothing, for she outbraves the lion. We absolutely have the heart training, the skin of Shin Ren, and she's probably talking through her arse. Cassandra is lying. Though to any other observer she would appear to speak candidly, you can tell by the way she is forcing herself to hold. Though to any other observer she would appear to speak candidly, you can tell by the way she is forcing herself to hold your searching gaze that she lies. If it is true that she outbraves the lion, she risks everything by coming to Earthmancast, walking into the lion's den, as it were, but she has slain lions before. She is lying when she says she is taking this chance for monetary reward. She lusts for your life to avenge the killing of her barbarian friend, and she stares at your emerald eye rather than your natural eye. She covets the emerald orb that shines forth in your noble face. I see. What part do you play in this, traitress? Gwyneth asks Foxglove. I am innocent of any dark design. When my own city closed its gates on me, I fled to the rift for succour and found only cruelty that surpasses understanding. Gwyneth becomes more angry than you have ever seen her. She is almost raving. Vile worm! You fled to those for whom you opened the city gate when we were under siege, but they have no further use for you. You are only of use in this city, Foxglove. You have no martial... You are only of use in this city. So, you have no martial skill, no sorcery or priestly powers, only the low cunning of a poisonous gutter toad. You ask Gwyneth to calm herself, and ask again why Foxglove is here. Against my will, Overlord. I am but a helpless pawn in an evil game. Well, we knew when she appeared she was playing the sympathy card, but let's see what she's saying here. Cassandra says, I brought the woman Foxglove with me in order to gain safe entrance to your city. I care not what you do with her, though I will take her back to the rift as a token of what is to come if you wish. Since you killed Shadazar, the Black Widow rules the Dark Elves. Foxglove has made quite an impression on the Black Widow, haven't you, my beauty? Foxglove throws herself to her knees and begs you not to send her back to the bowels of Orb. I believe we have to take Foxglove and Cassandra, Chuchev and Form with us to the bowels of Orb. Possibly Glaivas as well. And judging by the illustrations in Book 7, it seems like the adventurers from Book 2 are going to be in there as well, and Doré Lejeune, but also a whole load of other characters, including Yemun, the Grandmaster of the Flame, and Honoric, so it sounds like it's going to be an absolute nightmare. Foxglove throws herself on her knees and begs you not to send her back to the bowels of Orb. General Gwyneth says that Foxglove is a traitress and should be put to the sword. Will you order that Foxglove be executed for the part Gwyneth says she played in the razing of your city? Send her back to the rift with Cassandra in the hope that this may buy time for your friend Glaivas. Set her free? Or say that Foxglove must accompany you should you decide to travel to the rift. That would be a test of her loyalty. Well, her false loyalty. The thing is, We know she always seems to have an ulterior motive. She doesn't always seem to have our best interest in her heart. She has protected us from an assassination attempt, and she seemed genuinely concerned about our well-being at that moment in time, although that might just have been to impress us into keeping her as an ally. But no, we will give the decree, especially as it's just over a page. Gwyneth escorts Foxglove none too gently back to the donjon, the windowless tower in the northeast corner of the palace. There she will languish until you make your decision whether or not to rescue Glaivas. And now we must deal with Cassandra. You decide to try to find out more information. Will you ask Cassandra where in the rift Glaivas is being held? How many Dark Elves there are in the rift? Look, it's a very high number, whatever it is. Or where her friends Chuchev and Form are to be found. This will be telling if she is willing to share that information with us or not. If they are being held prisoner in the rift, and she wants to rescue them, and she wants the power of the orb from us to do it. Yes, we will ask where her co-conspirators are, because I suspect they are behind this plan, either the masterminds of it, or or they have been captured as well, and she wants to rescue them. I've got a very dry throat. I should get a drink soon. Form is unwell following our last meeting with you. He's been recovering that long from the poison, from the ninja star to the arm. I don't think it was even that poisoned. So unwell that we had at great cost to secure the services of a high priest. It left Form a pauper. Cassandra may be suggesting that he has been brought back from the dead, or perhaps that he was near mortally wounded by you. He was struck in the arm, not in the body or head. It is possible that we could have hit a major artery, but that didn't seem to be the case at the time, especially as he was able to get up and walk away from that encounter, even if he did use an illusion to cover his tracks. Should have heeded Cassandra's warning. Yeah. Never to be done that. Right. Shouldn't see this stuff. Too many visible things that are like major spoilers. She says, "There are many dark places in the rift in which to hide. There is no telling whom you might meet Avenger in the everlasting darkness. You may ask her one more question. Will you ask her where in the rift Glaivas is being held, or how many Dark Elves there are in the rift? She's either going to overinflate the numbers, or it'll be a massive number anyway. So we will ask where Glaivas is being held." Glaivas is kept captive beyond the 7th layer in the area known as the Forbidden Sanctuary. The Black Widow's web reaches out from the hub there. Then, I will answer no more questions, but I will tell you this. When you reach the 4th tier, take the narrow way. The Way of Thrones has been baited as a trap for you. Avenger, a trap that even you cannot hope to survive. That sounds like the warning. We will make note of that right now. I'm just going to put orb below it as a reminder. Right. Cassandra's warning. 275. 7th layer on the 4th. Take the narrow way. The Way of Thrones is a trap. Right. I saw some kind of nasty spidery creature. That looks very unhealthy. Right. I'm seeing lots of Chuchev attacking us here. It doesn't look very good. It would mean certain death for Glaivas, if he still lives, were you to detain Cassandra, so you tell her that she is free to leave and forbid her to enter the city again on pain of death. As she leaves, she says, "We may yet meet again, Avenger, or are you too craven to take up the quest? Now you must decide what to do about the plight of your poor friend Glaivas and Dore Lejeune, who doesn't seem to be captured but does seem to be down there. It is unusual that Dore would be vanquished. That is most unlike him. So there must be something very serious indeed. Any decision you make should be taken quickly, lest Cassandra be spending her time brewing some terrible trap or ambush for you in the rift. Trust me, her friends have probably been doing that already while she was here. Once back at Earthmancast, you must come to a decision quickly. If it were not for Glaivas, you would probably not now be overlord of the city. In fact, we would have probably not even made it through but one. To take the Sceptre into the bowels of Orb is to expose it and yourself to the gravest danger. If you decide to try and save Glaivas, that's great. If you decide to abandon Glaivas, that's probably leading to an auto-kill section, like in a few months' time an evil army comes swimming out of a rift or something like that, or your people go boo, where you know, we don't like you, you didn't rescue your friend, and so when the evil army comes we have no chance to defend ourselves. Let's absolutely attempt for rescue. This feels like we are walking into a trap, but we are aware that it is a trap. Let's... Ugh. Yes, the Dark Elves look like goblins in this series for some reason. Memories of how Glaivas brought the Rangers to help you in your fight against the Legion of the Sword of Doom help you to make up your mind completely. You will risk all to save your friend, which means Foxglove is coming with us. Because keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. You cannot risk another to share with you the dangers of the rift. You cannot ask another to share with you the dangers of the risk. Foxglove must come with you as punishment for deserting her city in its time of need. She may be useful to you, but there is no point in taking an armed band. No matter how large, it would be outnumbered by the denizens of the rift. Stealth will be your greatest asset, and Foxglove may have information about the rift that could help us, that we could extract from her along the way. Also, we are aware, we have been told that she has made a good big impression on the Black Widow. We don't know much about who the Black Widow is, apart from was it Shadazar's successor? You take the Sceptre and swathe it in black cloth. Why are we even taking the Sceptre with us? Surely we're not going to hand it over. We should leave the Sceptre behind in the city, because we're not just going to walk over there and go, here you are, and hand it to them, right? Do we believe it might have some special power? Because pretty much everything in the Rift is going to be our enemy. Even Cassandra Chuchev in form. But we don't know about Foxglove. She's the wild card in all this, because I haven't played this book before. You take the Sceptre and swathe it in black cloth, then hide it inside your ninja costume. Given that we've been able to use it as a walking staff at times, and it appears to be the size of a mace, so, you know, about the length of your forearm plus your hand. In the old illustrations on the cover of book 5, right? I'm mentioning this for a reason. Yeah, so, you know, about the size of a mace, right? There we go. See, about that long. Maybe longer than forearm and hand. Maybe like almost a whole arm's length. That we could hide inside our costume. In the new book 5 cover, it's like the size of a spear, and I can't see how we could hide that inside our costume. Anyway. Leaving Gwyneth orders to publish the news that you are journeying to meet 2 saviours of the city, without saying who they are. You set off to that darkest pit of evil, the bowels of Orb. One other artifact you take from the royal armory, the Torch of Lumen, an ebony rod topped by a cone of alabaster. When the alabaster is touched, it gives off a constant light that will be invaluable in the eternal darkness of the rift. And I believe I saw mention of that in the first section of Book 7. Incidentally, I will be playing Book 0 before Book 7, which, yes, means an even longer wait, but it can be like a flashback that Avenger has while he's trapped in the spiderweb. Items... Yes. At least it's a cone, so it doesn't look exactly like a torch with a glass lens at the end. Alabaster. Glow at touch, glow on touch. I think glow on touch is lumen, of course, being a word related to light. And being now used as a light unit that is... Bloody hell, we're seeing all these auto kills and things that are giving it away. It's a shame. I suppose I'm supposed to forget these numbers later on, but hey. 145. Looks like a gang of orcs planning to... Wait, are they disguised? Has he taken off his disguise, dropping it to the floor and revealing himself to be a monster? Looks like they're trying to do something nasty. Oh, looks like this is section 142. Okay. Oh, that's the adventurers, right. And I was on the wrong page. Here we go, right. The rift has been a cauldron of evil since time immemorial. All manner of wicked and unnatural creatures spawn there, giving rise to an endless stream of evil pouring from the dark chasm across the lands of men. Dark elves, sisters of Nolak, orcs, old ones, sons of Nil, plague trolls, these are but a few of the denizens lurking in the unending darkness. The chasm itself is like an immense gorge, surrounded by a honeycomb of natural tunnels and carven halls which stretch to the very centre of Orb. A man could walk for a lifetime in the bowels of Orb and still not trace every catacomb and vault. You decide to make for the northern end of the rift. So we're pretty close. In all fairness, we're pretty close on the map already. And there, Cassandra of Sword. I think that's the eye gouging scene. Looks a little more like the Cassandra we know and love. You know, well, love. You know what I mean. Foxglove retrieves a few of her old clothes before you leave, and you have to forbid her from packing an entire trousseau. Sounds like it's something to do with trousers. Sounds like it's some kind of suitcase. Not a word I've ever encountered before. Sounds like a detective in the Pink Panther films. She rides out behind you on a white mare which you hold on a leading rein, wearing scarlet and black, kept warm by a sable cloak, so she looks evil. Got it. You leave the city under cover of darkness and camp the following evening, by which time Foxglove is complaining of exhaustion, though she has ridden and you have walked. You are not far from the River of Beasts. Will you stay up all night to make sure Foxglove does not escape, or sleep soundly and trust to your animal alertness to wake you if anything is amiss? Now, we do have keen senses. If we stay up and keep watch, she can interact with us and we with her. If we sleep, I don't think she can escape in the night necessarily. But there may be other dangers. We are near to the... Let's just do something. Once again, going to open this up because there is a map inside near the beginning. So, Earthman cast Nigh Edge, the pit, Where is the River of Beasts? Would this be it? Presumably, right? The rivers do not appear to be marked. So... Also, front cover of Inferno. In the What Do We Know section, we have a picture of a woman standing in the mouth of a great serpent, impaling the roof of its mouth with her sword. From the colour of the sword hilt, this could be Cassandra's cold sword. This looks nothing like her, but then the covers generally have less accurate depictions than the internal illustrations. There's a lot of blood on these fangs, implying that this thing has recently done damage with its mouth to something large enough to bite into. This could be where Cassandra's cold sword is required to be in her possession. I don't know. What was I looking for? Oh, yes. Bugger. The map is at the beginning of... Right. 185. Is there a map at the beginning? No. Okay. I'm feeling I should keep watch at the moment. So let's do that. Foxglove sleeps soundly, but you do not. Lack of sleep takes its toll when you begin to trudge on soon after dawn, and we lose 2 endurance points. I wonder... So the other thing I was going to say is, taking our sound sleep shows trust. And this is the picture I remembered, where she has beautiful features, not the scary horse face Mong from the book 7 picture, but yeah. Right. 245. The familiar picture. On the next day, Foxglove is all sullen and will not speak to you. Tomorrow you will sight the last hills and forest before the rift, and you will have to set the horse free and continue on foot. When you camp at evening, however, she comes close to you, her eyes shining with tears, and says that she is too lonely and afraid to go on. Avenger, no one has shown me the smallest shred of kindness for longer than I can remember. I will go with you into the rift as I must, but if you do not embrace me now, my heart will break and I will lose all my mind. Will you comfort her as she desires, or refuse her this kindness? The act of Shinren has not told us anything about her intent, only about Cassandra. So, here's the thing, right? Do we think she is still working with Cassandra Chuchervan form as part of some plan? Because they are intelligent, they're schemers, they're plotters. They would have calculated the possibility that we would turn them away. I'm not sure they would have calculated. So, would they have expected me to go back to the rift with Cassandra and Lady Foxglove? With Lady Foxglove being there to persuade me that it was all well and good and safe to cooperate with Cassandra and she would work with us. If we give her a hug, are we locked into... Wait. See, there's a difference between us loving her and her loving us. Refuse her this kindness. We are not an evil person. We do not, however, have an... So this may... Right. Is she going to try and steal something from us while she's hugging us? Probably not. She knows that we could chase her down if she stole something and tried to run away. She's not that fast. She could be genuinely scared, Or she could be up to something. And I know there is the possibility to be in love with her. I'm not sure if one cuddle is all it takes. However, refusing her could really upset her. Not only because it's thwarting any particular plans she might have, but she is a person inside all this, right? Inside all political machinations. She does have a heart and her own feelings, right? We don't know why she ran away from the city. Something feels wrong. Okay, let's think about this. Maybe, let's say she was a spy working for the Rift and she went back to report to them when they decided to launch an attack and she's got trapped outside. Right. If she fled the city when it was under attack, because she is a spy mistress, so she is sneaky, right? But I do feel she could help us, and having her on side would be good. I will allow her a cuddle, and this could be the largest mistake I make in this book. And I'll just have to live with that, and maybe try another playthrough if it gets really screwed up. Foxglove comes into your arms and rests her head on your shoulder. An intoxicating aroma of exotic perfume, the scent of passion flowers from the island of the goddess, wafts over you. You look into her eyes and marvel at her frail beauty. Before you can stop her, she has stolen a kiss from her king that is most inappropriate, and could have long-lasting ramifications or rather short-term ones. If you have the skill of Shin Ren, heart training, now would be the perfect time to know if this is genuine or there's some motive behind it. And I do remember a comment earlier telling us that the power of Shin Ren could prevent us from something unpleasant and unfortunate in this book. Foxglove's kiss has a strange effect on you, probably the perfume in the lipstick. You find yourself gazing into her eyes and wondering how you could be taking such a noble and perfect person into grave peril. Uh-oh. Foxglove is an enchantress, and you have almost fallen under her spell. The heart training that you learned on the faraway island of Tranquil Dreams is enough to stop you becoming her slave, but her enchantment is powerful. She mounts the white horse, smiles and waves goodbye. Farewell, Avenger. As she rides away, you suffer a pang of anguish at losing her, but you are gladdened by the thought that she is out of danger. You settle down, a solitary figure lit by the dying embers of the heart fire. Turn to 55. If you wish to ignore your heart training and call Foxglove back, heedless of her enchanting ways, turn to 75. Here's the thing. If we call her back, will we fall under her spell? Because she'll keep applying it. I don't... She is an enchantress now. Interesting. Or do we let her go? I think we need to have her by our side come the end of the book. For some stupid reason. Here's the thing. If we did not have the power of Shin Ren, would she still have got on the horse and say goodbye and ride off? Does she think it's worked, or does she realize it has not? I don't know. And if we settle down on our own, where is she riding to? Presumably not back to the city, so we may meet her again anyway. Okay, tonight we sleep alone. At least without Foxglove by your side, you can make full use of your stealth and agility. It is not long before you are nearing the northern end of the rift. A warband of crooked, misshapen creatures, their eyes to the ground as they shuffle across the stony, fissured ground, causes you to lie low for a while, but when the creatures are safely past, you approach the chasm. I may have fucked up the entire book by letting her go then. I mean, we could have just refused the hug, right? I'll definitely be interested at looking at some of the other options in this book later on to see how things might have played out. You reach the edge of the great chasm without glimpsing any of the dark elvish magicians who might be on the lookout for you. The air is rank with the smells of sulphur and ammonia. Stale, hot air seeps out of the great fissures that split the barren rock. There are no wild animals here at the edge of the bowels of Orb, only dust. At the lip of the chasm you pause to look down. There is no bottom, or if there is, it is lost in darkness kilometers below. I still feel we're heading towards an auto-kill because we let Cassandra go. Not Cassandra, Lady Foxglove, because I believe Lady Foxglove needs to be with us, along with Cassandra Chuchev and Form, at the end of this book and at the beginning of book 7. But we'll see. Let's just go back to the top of the section. You reach the edge of the great chasm without glimpsing any of the dark elvish magicians who might be on the lookout for you. The air is rank with the smells of sulphur and ammonia. Stale, hot air seeps out of the great fissures that split the barren rock. There are no wild animals here at the edge of the bowels of Orb, only dust. At the lip of the chasm you pause to look down. There is no bottom, or if there is, it is lost in the darkness kilometers below. To the east you can dimly see the other wall, towering a kilometer above you like a distant bank of cloud. There are many twisting stairways and tracks leading down the side of the canyon wall, and there is even a road wide enough for carts and siege machines winding snake-like into the depths of the earth, perhaps a path up which a giant serpent may slither. It must have been a terrible labour to haul up to the light the engines that attacked your city. Will you take one of the twisting stairways or the road? Wide road, too obvious, going to be too heavily travelled. Take a twisting stairway, because it will be narrow, less creatures will be likely to travel upon it. So if we meet a group of creatures, the chance of the alarm being raised is maybe lower. We are trying to be sneaky after all. The nearest stairway is crumbling and unused, and the steps are half eroded in places, but you make your way steadily down into the gloom. After half an hour's climb, in which time you have seen no living creature, you come to a gallery of caves served by many tunnels and paths cut into the side of the canyon wall. You have reached the first tier and are already in a twilight world. You touch the torch of lumen and it casts a gentle glow about you. You will need its light from here on. The gallery of caves is enormous. There are storerooms, mostly plundered, and a forge and an armory, both deserted, but further down you can hear sounds of life. There is a certain amount of growling and wailing, and much low chatter in guttural complaining voices. The sounds are familiar as those of a slum. Here the refuse, the helpless or foolishly scrupulous individuals of the Rift, are forced to eke out their days. Here they are closest to the danger of crusaders, madmen like the paladin Doré Lejeune, who come to the bowels of Orb to attempt to slay evil beings indiscriminately, or to the many renegade orcish tribes who do not obey the Black Widow. You decide to take to the tunnels and descend to the next tier away from the chasm's edge. Probably was wise not to take the road. Also, I should probably stop playing soon so I can spend some time trying to work out a decent... Oh! If you have been spotted on the roadway that leads down to the rift, that probably would have been due to having Lady Foxglove with you. As we were not, we get to turn to a different section instead. I believe this book, this book may have suffered the same fate as the last book of the Bloodsword series, in which the publishers published an unfinished draft that was incomplete. I think that was the last book of the Bloodsword series, but it might have slightly affected this as well, I'm not sure. You duck into the tunnel before anyone notices you and creep onwards, taking care always to descend towards the second tier. Many tunnels converge on a cavern where you make out a fresco that chills your blood. It shows a great web with a black widow spider, identifiable by the scarlet hourglass shape on its back, testing all the lines from the web with her legs. At each extremity is a smaller version of her, crawling over some poor unfortunate. Orc, dark elf, or human, even an old one is shown trying in vain to free itself from a silken web. Another fresco shows a paladin in full armour but without helm. He is being assailed by the small spiders which seem to be creeping into his ears, nose, and as he screams, his mouth. Spiders may be inside people, operating them like puppets. Like not one spider inside one person, like a colony of spiders inside a person, yeah. The tunnel you're in is joined by several others and then winds down steadily into the depths of orb. Soon you are down to the more populous second tier. Here complete villages and towns exist, trading with one another, mining and raiding each other for slaves and booty. You will have to start going even more carefully, and I think we should tread even more carefully into the next episode. I should leave this one here and go make up an intro. I hope you've all liked this episode so far, and do let me know if I've fucked up significantly already, because I probably have. It's a first-time playthrough. I'll say goodbye for now, though, and see you all next time. Cheerio, everyone. We're all ninjas.